We are glad to welcome you to our channel. Kindly subscribe to our channel and share our videos with your friends and relations. And click on the bell icon for instant notification whenever new videos are uploaded on this channel. Rest assured that we are going to have a very exciting and inspiring discussion. Let's dive into the lesson right away. Hello friends. In today's lecture, we are going to look at how to write a project. We are going to focus on chapter 1, which is the introductory aspect of the project. In fact, it is in chapter 1 that a good foundation is laid for a good project. I am Benjamin from English Classes Online. Let's first take a look at a sample project outline. The title is Investigating the Most Frequent Grammatical Errors in Nigerian English Among High School Students. Now, taking a look at this sample project outline, you can see that the project is divided into chapters, beginning with chapter 1, which is the introduction. Of course, there are different specific items that are contained in each chapter, and we are going to look at them one by one. As I earlier said, our focus will be on chapter 1. But let's take a holistic look at this sample project outline. In chapter 1, you have the introduction. In chapter 2, you have literature review. Chapter 3 is methodology. Chapter 4, results. Chapter 5, discussion. Chapter 6, conclusion. And of course, in chapter 7 is where you have the references. Okay. Now let's move on. The project title is very important. That is the starting point. You know, when you want to write a project, you first have to look at the kind of problem you want to solve through that study or research you want to conduct. And so that will help you to come up with the appropriate project title. For example, investigating the most frequent grammatical errors in Nigerian English among high school students. This is, a good project title for English majors, for students who have been studying English as a major course of study at university, and they want to write a project at the end of their program. Now, let's move on to chapter 1, which we want to look at in details today in today's lesson. Now, chapter 1, as I earlier mentioned, is the introduction, and the following items are necessary. They are the items that need to be included in chapter 1. The first is background and context of the study. You might simply put it as background of the study. Next, you have statement of the problem. Then you have purpose of the study. And then you have research objectives, scope of the study. Some people include scope and limitations of the study. Significance of the study, research questions. There are questions, and then hypothesis. There's a close relationship, what you can call similarity between research questions and hypothesis. And then you have differences as well. research questions are questions. Hypothesis is usually a statement, but both of them are related in the sense that when you have a research question or some research questions, the entire research will be aiming at providing answers to those questions. If you use hypothesis, a hypothesis is intellectual guess, if you like, an intelligent guess, or an assumption or a proposition, you know. So, but it's similar in the sense that if you come up with a hypothesis, then the entire study will be devoted to either proving the hypothesis or disproving it, as the case may be. Then the last item is definition of the key terms. Now let's look at all these items one by one, beginning with background and context of the study. Now, what the background of the study does is that it provides background information. It, it shows the problem that has necessitated this research or this study, So it provides the background. Why should this study be embarked upon? Why should this research be made? Now let's look at this sample. As we earlier saw, it's about investigating, the grammatical, most uh, frequently occurring grammatical errors of, you know, uh, Nigerian English speakers, especially those in the high school. Okay. Now let's look at what we could put down as background or context of this type of study. Now listen attentively. Nigerian English is a variety of English spoken and written in Nigeria, which is characterized by its unique features, including grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Due to the influence of indigenous languages and cultural factors, Nigerian English has developed its own distinct forms and expressions, which may differ from standard English in some respects. Moving further, we have Nigerian high school students are exposed to English as a second language in their schools, and they often encounter challenges in mastering the grammatical rules and conventions of the language. So you have stated one problem. Nigerian high school students, they are studying English as a second language, which means they already have their first language, which is their mother tongue or their native language. And so by the time they start studying English as a second language, they already have some problems, because in linguistics, what we call mother tongue interference, is a hindrance, if you like. It affects the quality of English that the learner tries to produce, but with practice, such errors can be overcome. So let's continue. This may lead to the occurrence of grammatical errors in their spoken and written English, which may affect their ability to communicate effectively and achieve academic success. So the problem is now being stated, and the reason why this study is necessary is also being made clear. Now let's continue. The study of grammatical errors in Nigerian English is crucial because language is a powerful tool for communication, and the mastery of grammar rules is essential for effective communication. You are now justifying, this study. Why is it necessary? Let's continue. Errors in grammar can lead to misunderstandings, confusion, and even embarrassment in certain situations. For instance, in academic writing, errors in grammar can reduce the quality of the work and impact the grades of the students. In professional communication, such errors can harm the credibility of the speaker or writer. You see, so these are all part of the background. So what the background does is that it lays a foundation. When you want to build a house, you start from the foundation, and that's what background of the study does. And then you could refer to previous studies, and then you give a picture of what has been done in this particular area of study, and then what are you bringing new to the table. That is very important in conducting a research. For example, let's look at this. Previous studies have identified various types of grammatical errors in Nigerian English, such as subject-verb agreement, tense, articles, prepositions, and pronouns. However, there is a need for further research to determine the most frequent and pervasive errors among high school students in Nigeria. The findings of such research can provide insights into the specific areas that need to be addressed in language teaching and learning. You see, so this is how to write the background and context of the study. You want to situate this study within a particular context. What are the problems that this study is going to address, and how important it is that this study should be conducted? Let's move forward. Moreover, the study of grammatical errors in Nigerian English can also shed light on the relationship between the English language and the local languages and cultures in Nigeria. Since Nigerian English is influenced by indigenous languages and cultural factors, the analysis of its grammatical errors can reveal how the local context shapes the use of English in Nigeria. This can have implications for language policy and planning in the country. So you are also looking at how this study can contribute to improving the standard of education or the standard of language learning in the country. In summary, investigating the most frequent grammatical errors in Nigerian English among high school students is a research topic that is both relevant and significant in the context of language teaching and learning in Nigeria. The study can contribute to improving the quality of English language education in the country and enhancing the communication skills of Nigerian students. So that is so much for the background of the study. And this brings us to the statement of the problem. That is another important element, another important item that should be included in chapter 1. Now, a statement of the problem has to do with stating the problem that has made the study necessary in the first place. Now, let's look at this example. Despite the importance of English as a second language in Nigeria, high school students often encounter challenges in mastering the grammatical rules and conventions of the language. This can lead to the occurrence of grammatical errors in their spoken and written English, which can have negative consequences on their academic performance and communication skills. While previous studies have identified various types of grammatical errors in Nigerian English, there is a need to determine the most frequent and pervasive errors among high school students in Nigeria. Therefore, the problem addressed in this research is the need to identify the most common grammatical errors in Nigerian English among high school students, with the aim of developing effective pedagogical approaches and strategies to address these errors and improve the quality of English language education in Nigeria. So you have stated the problem. This research aims to identify the most common grammatical errors in Nigerian English among high school students, as previous studies have shown that these students encounter challenges in mastering the grammatical rules and conventions of the language. Such errors can negatively impact their academic performance and communication skills. By identifying the most frequent and pervasive errors, the study seeks to inform the development of effective pedagogical approaches and strategies to address these errors and improve the quality of English language education in Nigeria. Now, the problem needs to be stated quite clearly so that anybody who goes through it will immediately understand what this story, what this particular study or research aims at doing. Because a research or a study is basically aimed at solving a problem. That problem must be a serious one, and its solution must be very important. And that is what the statement of the problem seeks. Of course, we are going to look at purpose of the study. Sometimes some people get confused as to the difference between research objectives and purpose of the study. Now, purpose of the study is more general. It states, the purpose, what the aim. Some people call it the aim, and some combine it and they say research aim and objectives. The aim is the purpose of the study, and the objectives are the specific goals to be achieved, the steps. It is like the action plan, things that need to be done in order to achieve the definite purpose. Okay, so let's look at the research objectives here. To identify the most frequent grammatical errors in Nigerian English among high school students based on a comprehensive analysis of their spoken and written English. To examine the factors that contribute to the occurrence of these errors, including linguistic, cultural, and educational factors. To develop effective pedagogical approaches and strategies that can address the identified grammatical errors and enhance the quality of English language education among high school students in Nigeria. Now, these are the objectives. Let's now look at the purpose of the study. To identify the most frequent grammatical errors in Nigerian English among high school students based on a comprehensive analysis of their spoken and written English. Of course, you see, the study must have one big aim to achieve, the purpose, okay? And it can be any of these, to examine the factors that contribute to the occurrence of these errors and all that. To develop effective, so the purpose should be the general, the main. Let's look at the purpose of the study as what should be the big picture, the major aim of the study. It could just be stated, if you like, just simply, but it should give a picture of what the study is all about, what is it aims at achieving. And then the research objectives will be the specific thing goals to be achieved. Okay, they are related, but there's a slight difference. Then this brings us to the scope of the study. Again, here some people may combine the scope and limitations of the study. Okay, the scope has to do with the extent, the areas that the study should cover. Limitations we refer to areas that may not be covered as a result of some limitations, or some hindrances, if you like. Now, let's just take a look at the scope, and of course, you might also find aspects of the limitations here. The study will focus on high school students in Nigeria who are learning English as a second language. You can see this, the area the study will cover. The research will involve a comprehensive analysis of the spoken and written English of the students with a focus on identifying the most frequent and pervasive grammatical errors. The study will examine the factors that contribute to these errors, including linguistic, cultural, and educational factors. The research will be limited. You can see there are limitations again here. The research will be limited to identifying and analyzing grammatical errors and will not address other aspects of language proficiency, such as vocabulary or pronunciation. The study will use a mixed methods approach, including surveys, interviews, and analysis of language samples to collect data from a representative sample of high school students in Nigeria. So it's important for the study to have a well-defined scope so that you will understand the areas that will be covered and the areas that will not be covered. Okay? Now, significance of the study. Significance of the study uh, deals with the importance. Why is the study necessary? Or what are the benefits that are going to be derived from this study? You know, what is the big deal? Why should this study be taken seriously? Now, let's begin to look at the significance of the study. Improving the quality of English language education. You can read the details. Let's just look at the specific areas. Enhancing communication skills, addressing language policy and planning, still on significance of the study, contributing to linguistic research. Overall, the study has significant implications for language teaching and learning in Nigeria, as well as for the broader fields of linguistics and language policy and planning. So that's the significance. And then let's look at the research questions. One, what are the most common grammatical errors made by high school students in Nigerian English? There's a relationship between the research questions and the research objectives, because these questions are taken from the objectives, and then once these questions are posed, then or raised, then the entire study will be devoted to providing cogent answers to the questions. Number two, what linguistic, cultural, and educational factors contribute to the occurrence of these errors? Three, how do these errors affect the academic performance and communication skills of high school students in Nigeria? Four, what pedagogical approaches and strategies can be developed to address these errors and improve the quality of English language education in Nigeria? Five, how does the grammar of Nigerian English differ from standard English, and how can these differences be accounted for in language teaching and learning? See, all these are important questions that are raised to facilitate the study, because what questions do is that they throw light on to go. When you are asked a question, then in response to it, you will be looking for the relevant information. And of course, a study or a research is about, you know, hunting for the appropriate information to provide answers to important questions. And then hypothesis, as I earlier said, the hypothesis resembles uh, the questions, but it's not advisable to have both research questions and hypotheses together in one study. You just have to choose between having research questions and then using hypotheses. The basic difference is that uh, research questions raise questions, and then you go out there looking for answers to this question. Now, hypothesis is a statement, is an intelligent guess, if you like, a proposition or a brilliant assumption. For example, hypothesis one: high school students in Nigeria make more errors in the use of tenses, articles, and prepositions than in other areas of English grammar. Now, this hypothesis can either be proved or disproved in the course of your study. So, once you raise some hypotheses, then your study will provide either proof or otherwise. So that is the difference between research questions. When you use research questions, they are specific questions, and then you begin to look for answers, and your research should provide clear answers to those questions. Now let's look at hypothesis 2. The occurrence of grammatical errors in Nigerian English among high school students is influenced by linguistic factors such as differences between Nigerian English and Standard English, as well as cultural and educational factors such as the influence of local languages and the quality of English language instruction. You see, these are assumptions, very brilliant assumptions, intelligent guess, if you like. You already you this hypothesis naturally stem from the information you have already provided in the background of the study, in the statement of the problem, in the research objectives and all that. Okay, so these are some conclusions you tend to draw when you look at the problem, and then this hypothesis will need to be proved or disproved in the course of the study. Hypothesis 3: the occurrence of grammatical errors in Nigerian English negatively affects the academic performance and communication skills of high school students, particularly in academic writing and speaking tasks. That is another hypothesis, and so on and so forth. So you can just go through the various hypotheses that we have here. Now, the definition of the key terms is aimed at facilitating the understanding of those who are going to read the project. Now, it is important to note that a study of this nature is capable of using some difficult or unfamiliar terms, and sometimes use words that are part of the jargon of that particular field of study. And so there is need to define the key terms. So that is what definition of the key terms is about. Let's look at some examples. One, linguistic factors, aspects of language structure and use that may influence the occurrence of grammatical errors, such as differences between Nigerian English and Standard English, or the influence of local languages and dialects. That is what is meant by linguistic factors. Of course, in the course of the previous discussion, we have mentioned linguistic factors. So it is important for everyone, the ordinary man, the layman, if you like, to understand these terms. Number two, cultural factors, beliefs, values, and practices that may affect language use and learning, such as attitudes towards English as a second language or the role of language in identity formation. Three, educational factors. Factors that may influence language learning and instruction, such as the quality of English language teaching in schools, the availability of resources and materials, or the role of language proficiency in academic success. Four, academic performance, a measure of students' achievement in academic tasks such as writing, speaking, reading, and listening, typically based on grades, test scores, or other uh, quant- quantitative indicators. All right. So, and then there are other terms, and of course, this brings us to the end of today's lecture. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. If you did, make sure you like the video and share it with your friends and relations. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, kindly leave them in the comment section below. See you in the next class. Many thanks for watching today's video. A big thank you to all of you out there for being part of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, kindly subscribe to this channel. Subscribe now as a way of giving us support. For notification about new videos, click on the bell icon. You will find the bell icon. Click on it so that whenever a new video is uploaded, you will be instantly notified. If you have actually enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends and relatives. This is very important. If you have any comments, leave your comments below. Any questions, any suggestions, we would gladly receive them and respond promptly and positively to them. See you in the next video. I look forward to always seeing you in the new video.